Not a lot of games have taken off as quickly as Blizzard's new juggernaut, Overwatch.
Not a lot of YouTubers have created as much controversy as YouTube's pretty boy gamer, MatPat.
With his sing-songy voice, he has established himself as an immutable force in video game theory.
And no, I'm not going to use this voice throughout the entire video, but I will use it. I would say I don't like MatPat, but I'm more indifferent to MatPat. Mostly because I've watched a game theory video or two. I was like, that's cute, but the arguments are really reminiscent of most humanities, literature, gender studies classes I've been in. And I'm not saying that for what's currently trendy. They really do visit things like subverting heteronormativity in Shakespeare's Macbeth. And after a while, you're like, don't want to have these arguments where you pull things out of anywhere. So from what I've seen, game theory is often devoid of talking about actual gameplay or level design for the most part. So I am doing this, which is often the kind of response style video people do on YouTube, because if I've established nothing in my almost decade of being on this website, is that I am barely original. Is he really a millionaire though? Matt, buddy, Bubby, come on. We could be friends. Not after this video, but Goose needs some love. Turn the ads back on instead of contemplating going in the back alley for a 20. I could certainly write and research for you, huh? And screw you, anybody who has a problem with that. One, this is my channel and I will get to the content in my own time. I will sell out faster than the Blue Collar Comedy Tour in Texas on the 4th of July if they were giving away handguns and fried Twinkies. It's still okay to make fun of rednecks, right? We could do that? That's cool? Okay.
Get her done.
In my exhaustive research, I have discovered MatPat has done a series of videos for Petucation. I assume for charity. Damn it, MatPat, I'm not supposed to like you. You're not supposed to get on my good side. I'm supposed to be griefing on you and hating you. Don't make me like you. All right, fine. Good on you, MatPat. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you took money for this, you are the biggest scumbag on the face of the planet. And to be fair to me, we can compare their efficient use of time to the variability rate of Yahtzee Zero Punctuations videos.
Same, but different. But still same.
And honestly, I can save a lot of time by negating everything they say in this video by saying two things. They are either purposely deceptive or willingly stupid. So you're either stupid or a liar. Which one is it? That's it. End of argument. We're done. We're done here. All right, let's go. Video over. So I guess it's about time I actually start talking about the content. I'm not fond or understand the purpose of this slow build monitor thing, but what do I know? I'm not a millionaire. I don't have almost 7 million subscribers of the date of this video. I have not been invited to meet the Pope so I can create a clickbaity video saying, I gave the Pope a copy of Undertale and it can save the world. And I have not, and probably never will, have Reggie star in any of my videos.
Only out for 2 months, it's already had itself 10 million players and made literally hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue.
Like less than 2 sentences in and I'm already stopping you and angry because you're starting this off like a first-year composition student. But the idea here is that, yes, it's selling quickly and that's important and it's breaking records good. The problem is that if you're including console sales, you can't get your money back once you purchase something like that. You're pretty much boned. Steam has a limited return policy, and from my experience, Blizzard customer service is really good as well, so they might let you return it, were you not satisfied. However, just because something sells well does not mean that it is important or necessarily grand. The majority has not always been on the side of right in this world. We could think of a lot of things in history where that bears out to be like, what the hell were people smoking?
My own show, chilling on MTV, bud.
Would you want a cookie?
I could go on, but I think I've made my point here. You get it?
Everyone, and I mean everyone, seems to love Overwatch.
Sweeping generalization statements are something we do all the time on game theory.
When talking about class-based team shooters, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better one.
Can't find a better one.
Overwatch is character and class-based. There are already a number of first-person multiplayer games which focus more on heroes than classes, which are already out, are coming in 2016, or are coming in the near future.
And no, we're not talking about Battleborn.
Is Battleborn a class shooter?
No, Patrick, Battleborn is not a class shooter.
Go home, Battleborn. You're drunk.
Don't hold back. Hit me as hard as you can.
I'm talking about the hat-tastic granddaddy of the genre, Team Fortress 2.
Why, I'm glad you brought that up, Chucklehead, because Team Fortress Classic came out in 1999, and I played the hell out of that along with original Counter-Strike using a 56K modem, so don't tell me about lag and ping. Technically, it is not the granddaddy of the genre. Well, if you want to get really technical, that was based on Team Fortress from Quake, which came out in 1996, so all you really had to do was not call it the granddaddy of the genre, and you would have been good. Little bit of proofreading, that's all it would have taken. Tisk, tisk, tisk. And you get paid millions for this research.
Or will enthusiasm for Overwatch be dead faster than Evolve? Yeah, there's a game you haven't thought about in a while.
Wrong. You're stupid and you're wrong because Evolve became free to play right before this and there was a huge spike in players. So if there's a huge spike in people playing it online because it became free to play, how is it that people have not thought about it in a while? I get it, you wrote and recorded this before it became free to play. In the non-7 million subscriber, everybody kisses my ass family, we call that crap. I need to redo everything.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Deadlock.
There's a man who practiced that move and has on-camera presence. He's definitely got that practiced winning smile, that boy band good looks. Aw, good on ya, MatPat. You handsome little son of a bitch. Smile, MatPat. Smile big for Daddy Goose. Psst, I'm a pyro too, buddy.
Nerf this.
Kaboom indeed, you drunken wretch!
I kind of like him. The thing about this introduction and the whole production really, other than the heebie-jeebie factor that you get, is that I can't help thinking about the time and money spent for nothing. It adds nothing to the argument. It adds nothing to anything that's going on. I don't know what the Street Fighter style gauge and point system have to do with anything or how they're gauging what points take off for what. It's arbitrary. It means nothing. It means bupkis.
You get nothing. You lose.
It's just eye candy and shiny keys jingling for people to look at the shiny colors, kids. Look at the aesthetic of like 8 and 16-bit era graphics for you. We're gamers. We swear we're gamers.
Oh wow, so gracious.
I don't know who Spaceball's helmet hair person is here, but I have a radical notion for you. How about filling us in as to who the fuck this is? Every other one. You show us who it is. You have it listed. Are you hiding this guy's identity like he is a deadlock specialist that you found? Or did you just find him in the front of a hipster Starbucks and say, hey, rapper Dirty Q-Tip, would you like to read a script for $5? You realize it looks suspicious that you're hiding who he is because of all the inaccuracies, right? Not only that, someone should have said, hey, I'm using a purple color palette, stupid. Don't wear a purple shirt. Thirdly, I thought he was this guy from PBS Gaming Show, but apparently he's not. He's more like that guy crossed with Angry Joe if you meld their faces together. Someone photoshopped that because I don't have the talent to do it.
In fact, I'm about to win this debate in one word. Free.
Okay, Master Debater, I'm about to win this argument with the same word. If it's free, why didn't you download it so you know what you're talking about? I'm waiting.
Team Fortress 2 is a free game with no hidden fee.
I hadn't played Team Fortress 2 since the Meet Your Match update, but I did see people getting pissed off about it online, so I updated and played it. There are hidden tickets and fees now if you want access to certain things in the game. You don't have to get them, but then you don't get the quote-unquote complete experience, I guess.
The complete version of Overwatch is $60. Boom!
There's zero chance I'm going to be the only one to point some of this stuff out, but it's $40 on the PC, it's $60 for the full edition. What the hell do they call that? I'm just gonna Google it right now and do some research. Hold on. It is $60 for the Origins edition. I couldn't remember that it was called Origins. That's a dumb name, Blizzard. Thank you.
Consider that Overwatch has microtransactions on top of the $60 fee.
I don't know why a lot of people consider this a jerk move on Blizzard's part for having microtransactions for loot boxes. Because a lot of games have microtransactions now. It's become the standard. You don't need to buy any of these loot boxes in Overwatch. All they give you are skins and sprays and voice lines that do nothing for the character. They change the aesthetics, and that's it. There's absolutely zero reason to buy any of the loot boxes unless you want a skin that you're not getting from playing the game. And plus, when you actually get loot boxes, you can earn coins, and you earn coins for duplicates. So I have thousands of coins now, and I've not used any of them to unlock anything because most of the stuff that they have, I don't want because I don't like the skins. So suck it, purple shirt.
And people say that Candy Crush is a bad time. At least that game is free to download.
Some people say Candy Crush is a bad time, that's true. Some people actually enjoy playing the game. Some people actually download free-to-play games and play them before they start flapping their gums. See how this works?
Sure, Overwatch is being sold as a complete game at full price, but that's because it is. Blizzard has said that players will get everything from here on out, including new maps and other updates, all for free.
I don't know what Lone Star here is talking about. I guess that depends on what one defines as complete in today's gaming world. With DLC and microtransactions, they can suck money out of you forever. That's the new business model. When is the last time a major company has released something that's complete? Very few games are sold complete anymore. So what do you mean? Are you suggesting that Blizzard is going to give me everything for free for my $40 for the next decade? They're really banking on me buying extra loot boxes. That seems like a dumb business model.
And it's been doing this for 9 years. The game was released in October of 2007. That is a lot of service for zero money down.
Team Fortress 2, the successor to Team Fortress Classic, came out in the orange box, and the reason I didn't buy it is because it did not have Counter-Strike with it. Otherwise, I would have bought the orange box because I loved playing Classic and Counter-Strike. It was not free then. I think it became free to play in 2010 or 11. It's one thing to have your first support point about the game be its price. It's an entirely other realm to screw that information up. So not only is your first support point stupid, but you got it wrong. You screwed it up to a monumental degree. Everybody knows this, and I'm sure everybody else has pointed it out, so keep talking, please. This is great.
TF2 has microtransactions as well.
Yeah, for hats, for new weapons, for general character customization.
For random crates, for weapons that have unique abilities and can actually change the structure and loadout of the class. I've said this before, but this is really like a bad first-year essay. Can I get the transcript for this episode? I'd like to analyze it. Did Grant Ramos write this one as well? Did you pay him? Can you get your money back? I'd love to read it. I mean, I might have trouble reading Crayon, but whatever.
In TF2, you pay for what you want, and you get what you want when you pay for it.
Hold up, Spaceballs 1, you're blowing my mind, man. You mean I give credit and or currency for goods and services, and I get those goods and services in exchange for said currency and credit? My mind's blown. I'm gonna go to Burger King and have it my way. I'm gonna go to Subway and make some choices. And I'm gonna say, you know what? This is just like Team Fortress 2. You know what they're gonna say? Pick your bread, dumbass. I don't know what you're talking about. That happens every time you want to buy something. You get what you expect to pay for. Except for maybe some exceptions when you're in Thailand and you want to buy some companionship, and maybe it's a bit different.
In Overwatch, the microtransactions give you a chance to maybe get what you want.
When you pay for a loot box, you get what you paid for. It's a random loot box. Dumbass, you know what you're getting. It's not like you click on it and you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy this character. Fuck, it's a loot box!
It's all a lottery.
Yes, that's what you're buying, a chance. Have you not heard of Vegas? And it's not really a lottery. A lottery is a win or lose proposition. You always get something with a loot box. May not be what you want, but you always get something. Kind of like your video.
Every time you buy a loot box, that's a chance to get that skin that you wanted just so badly. You've been waiting for it since day one.
I don't understand why anybody would care enough about the skins to spend real money on a random chance to get one. Most of the legendary skins are stupid or ugly anyway, and if you play long enough, you'll eventually get some of the skins that you want, and if you don't, why would you care? Why would you care? But far be it from me for a fool to part with their money. I'm sure Spoonie's Patreon's still doing okay.
And let's face it, even if you did play the Overwatch loot box game to hopefully get those unique items for your favorite character.
What does Daddy Needs a New Zara mean? Zara skin? Is that what that's supposed to mean? Is that a sexual joke?
You're a dirty, dirty little boy. I see your nipples pointing out.
You want to play as a scout wearing a Dovahkiin helmet, wielding a giant fish as a weapon? You can.
I am sure everybody has pointed out that it is a heavy item, not a scout hat. At least you played Skyrim, so I don't know if I can fault you for getting the name wrong, because I don't know if you wrote the script, but I'm going to pretend that you did, or at least you were supposed to. Again, the game's free to play, Why didn't you download it? And look, if you download the game, you can look into the thing and see everything that you have the option to buy. It's not that hard.
From aesthetic changes to fully customizable loadouts, TF2 allows complete control over your character's play and feel.
Yes, there are customizable loadouts in Team Fortress 2, which allows for a huge variety in play styles per class. So no person of the same class will always play the same. You can run into many, many types. That is absolutely correct. I don't believe you have any idea what you're talking about because you just Googled loadout and you got a picture of the game loadout and you said, that looks like me, and you put it in there. I remember playing the game when it first came out because you had the option of playing as like a big fat person. And I played around an hour of it and I didn't enjoy it, but like the consummate professional I am, I re-downloaded and tried to join. I don't remember everything being so jiggly and but after 5 minutes, I couldn't find a match, so I gave up. But here's the standard character that you chose. Now, maybe you did write the script, but surely you may have not been in charge of editing and taking the assets to put in. So this one might not be your fault. But whoever did, it's an asshole. I'm sorry, sir. I'm doing my best.
Who made that man an editor?
I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Producer, asshole.
And his cousin?
He's an asshole too, sir. Premiere Pro Cloud, editor, asshole.
How many assholes we got at Game Theory anyhow?
Yo!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep editing, assholes.
It would appear as though I am on fire.
You're on fire because when you're doing well in Overwatch, the characters say they're on fire.
I am on fire.
Oh, you're hilarious. Don't explain that or nothing. Neither one of you do, but that's okay.
I shouldn't have let you talk first because you chose to fixate on the one, and I mean one element where Overwatch loses out to TF2, and that is aesthetics.
What are you what are you talking about? And how are you talking about it with your lips? You have just made an opinionated subjective argument that cannot be substantiated in any way other than I like the way it looks or I don't like the way it looks. That's it.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
But Overwatch wins where it truly matters, and that is gameplay.
Finally, they start talking about gameplay. Good, let's get to it.
Tell that to the loyal gamers who've been playing TF2 for the past 9 years. The game has stood the test of time.
Stood?
But where's the discussion about the gameplay? You didn't say anything about it. Nothing. Not one thing about how the game plays. There's a huge difference between Overwatch and Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 is a much faster, frenetic, chaotic game, even if you're playing competitive or you're playing in casual matches. You have to be faster and more accurate to play Team Fortress 2 or you're going to get your ass handed to you.
We need to get onto Spire, soldier.
I was down.
Not to mid. Okay, you can't jump.
Yes, Team Fortress 2 competitive mode is 6 versus 6, just like every mode of Overwatch. Even quicker casual play is 6v6 in Overwatch. The larger team sizes in casual play for Team Fortress and the variety of modes it has allows for a variety of experiences. But if you're playing competitively in Team Fortress 2, you have to employ similar strategies to Overwatch because you can't just rush the point or the payload or you're going to die. When you're playing Overwatch, you can't always just rush the point or payload because you'll die. And this is due to how players respawn. If you have more players in a map, you don't have to worry about whether or not your teammates are going to be there to support you. So you have to work as a team in both games. Overwatch is a chaotic and speedy experience, but it is a different kind of experience. They are not the same games.
Sure, but is now getting replaced. TF2 player numbers have been on the decline since October of 2014, according to Steam Charts data. And numbers since Overwatch's release in May have reached an all-time low for the game. So it looks like all those loyal gamers might be jumping ship. And honestly, Who can blame them?
Wouldn't have anything to do with the Meet Your Match update that people hated. Maybe that's why people stopped playing it for a bit, because they got pissed. Oh, wait a minute. You have no idea what that is. I'm sorry. And according to your little infographic there, this was at least edited in the middle of May. Why would they jump ship naturally to Overwatch? Like, it's the only class-based shooter that exists now. There are literally tons of them. And I find it funny that you piss all over Battleborn in the beginning and you don't mention Paladins. Because Paladins looks a lot more like Overwatch than Team Fortress 2. And granted, Paladins is still coming, but if we look at the game and the trailers for it, we can see blah bitty blah 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 theory blah. And I'd like to take a moment to thank the douchebag whoever started the news that Paladins is an Overwatch clone, prompting Todd Harris from High Res Studios to release a press statement about how old the concept art and everything is for Paladins, and it predates Overwatch. Thanks a lot, dickhead. You're causing me to go back in and edit this in the footage, even though I've had it in for 2 weeks, because you're fucking stupid!
Overwatch is a true team-based shooter, where teams
What
need to
does
be
a
made of a
true
diverse
team
set of
shooter
heroes
mean?
and
If you're going to
actually
make
work
broad
together
sweeping
to succeed in the
generalizations,
game.
you have to define what you're talking about.
You dumb bastard.
Dipstick Drake Bell, you're just saying words that can apply to almost any shooter that's ever existed. Any team shooter. If you're going to make broad, sweeping generalizations, you have to define what you're talking about. What does a true team-based shooter mean? The inference being that you don't have to work as a team on team shooters at all, particularly Team Fortress 2? Is that what you're driving at? Did anyone at Game Theory even attempt to try to fashion an argument based on the actual gameplay and mechanics at all?
Biggest pussy I've ever met in my life. Didn't even try. How does that feel?
You didn't try. You just troll in here maybe and just say general things without playing the game?
The end goal is always completing your objective, be it moving a vehicle across the map or defending a certain position.
What are you talking about? Do you play games? I don't believe you do. Not at all. Not a one, not a centie, not a cent. Not 1 second. What games can you think of? How many that have 0 to the number of objectives? There's always some kind of objective you have to complete to the game, 99% of the time, because they're boring if you don't have some kind of end goal. People get annoyed and pissed. I can't think of many class-based shooters or shooters in general that don't have some kind of goal for matches, whether it be to capture a point or get more points for kills in death matches. There's always an objective.
Team Fortress is also objective-based, but features things like kill-death ratios and rewards for dominating the enemy, stats and achievements that are directly tied to killing the opponent repeatedly.
Oh, you're so wrong. First of all, there are so many reasons you're wrong here, but let's start. You haven't... Oh, I'm getting verklempt. Hold on. I need my pills. I need medication. Not only does that exist in Overwatch, it is at the end of every single match. What do you think that damage component is? Like the amount of triggered you're getting from shooting bullets? What do you think those stats of eliminations are? What are you eliminating? There is play of the game that shows the best one that does the best killing. 9 times out of 10, it is the person who got the most kills from an ult. Before the latest update on September 13th, Mercy started getting a lot of plays of the game for revivals. This latest update patched that because it has been an ongoing problem since launch, Blizzard being able to balance the damage and healing component for plays of the game in competitive. Healers do not get as much credit as damage dealers do. Healers weren't leveling up as fast, and healers were not getting as much credit for healing in competitive play when that started. The damage dealing characters fared better. Damage, stats, and eliminations.
This makes it much less appealing to play as, say, a healer or other support character, since they're not as likely to get impressive numbers in those areas. And likewise, it increases the likelihood that offensive players will go rogue, heading out onto the map solo to boost these things up for themselves.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Tell me how this logic does not apply to the healers in Overwatch as well. Did you think these arguments through? At all. The same thing applies. The meta can do a lot of the things the healers can do in Overwatch, minus the alt modes and some special abilities. The entire keystone of this section of the video rests on the fact that you believe that kill-death ratios and other statistics do not exist in this game. Since they do exist, this applies to Overwatch too. Had you played the game once, you would have known this. I don't understand how you could even consider in a shooter where you kill somebody that wouldn't exist. It doesn't make any sense. It's so improbably illogical that it's breaking my brain. The game has healers. They wouldn't need to heal you if you weren't dying. Not for nothing, going back to your world-class editor, this footage you use here when you talk about going rogue, I believe that's times 10 mode. I don't know what your hiring process is, but someone over there needs a good talking to. You're fired. Yeah, and you won't be back. Yeah, get to the chopper. Oh.
The developers of Overwatch have gone on record saying that they actively avoided including stats like that in the game for exactly that reason.
Not true. I just illustrated why it's not true. Citation needed. I don't know why Blizzard would say that. If they did say that, they're wrong.
Words, in an ironic twist, Overwatch does Team Fortress better than Team Fortress.
Did you see the smug look on his face when he delivered that line? If he didn't write it, he certainly loves the shit out of it. It doesn't mean anything.
In an ironic twist, Call of Duty does Battlefield better than Battlefield. In an ironic twist, Sonic does Mario better than Mario. In an ironic twist, OxyContin does heroin better than heroin.
If their intention was to compete and overthrow Team Fortress 2, that is not irony at all. I hope you didn't pay someone to write this. I really, really hope. From what I've witnessed, you're not spending your money on video games, and it's going towards your authentic pleather jacket collection.
Yeah, I would hope so, considering it's the same game nearly a decade later. Only with fewer maps, of course. TF2 has 100. How many does Overwatch have again?
12, but...
You can call me Torbjorn, because I'm just standing here, and I just got play the game.
For you non-Overwatch players, do not use Torbjorn like this. You should set your turret around a corner or near choke point, go out and collect scraps so you can make shields for your team. You should not be standing there babysitting your turret. Yes, sometimes Torbjorn can get play of the game when he's not near his turret because he's respawning and the turret gets some kills. Your rivet gun can do decent damage, so it helps to be shooting the characters while your turret is shooting them too. I get it, it's a joke. You're being Mr. Funny Guy. The problem, Mr. Play of the Game, is that not all of the maps are used in the new competitive matchmaking mode from the Meet Your Match update, which you need to get a competitive matchmaking pass and have a premium Team Fortress 2 account from the Uber update. So for the most serious competitive play, that blows a hole in your point. Now that's funny.
12 maps, again in 2 months after release as opposed to 9 years, but it's quality over quantity. Whereas you brag about having 100 maps, most of which are from the community, mind you, which is not a bad thing.
So what have we covered so far in this video? We've covered microtransactions over extensively for some ungodly reason. We've covered class-based teamwork, sorta, without talking about gameplay. And we've covered maps without actually talking about layouts of the maps. I don't believe either of you have played 1 minute of both of these games.
But Overwatch's characters are just more mobile. They can roll, they can fly, teleport, use grappling hooks. With apologies to Freddie Wong, there's no need for convoluted rocket jumping in Overwatch.
What the fu- Oh my god. Oh. I can't believe I'm this mad at somebody I don't know or care about. You really, really are that stupid. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with society? There are important things to concern yourself with in life, and I'm spending far too much time responding to this. Rocket jumping started in Team Fortress Classic, and now it's a core mechanic of the gameplay. Learning how to rocket jump is important, and it's a strategy. And what does Freddie Wong have to do with it? Nothing. Not a damn thing. And what's frustrating me is not just what you're saying, but the structure of what you're saying. Look, you have an introduction. You guys have about 3 points each to argue over, and you have a conclusion. This is a classic 8th grade 5-paragraph essay where you're doing comparison contrast, taking back and forth in between each point. So it's really a modified point-by-point block method is what you're doing. But the idea is I understand why you would call rocket jumping convoluted because you're trying to argue your side.
But Overwatch's characters are just more mobile.
What the fuck? I guess if you mean more mobile by the ease of pressing a button to use an ability, then you got me, Chief. Oh, look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants. You haven't played any of the characters with those specific abilities you're talking about to even understand what you're saying. I don't believe you even like shooters as game. I bet you're not a shooter fan. I'm going to even bet that first-person shooters multiplayer is not your favorite type of game. That's the type of gamer you are. Am I right? I bet you that doesn't even crack your top 10. Let me explain this to you. Yes, McCree's roll can be used to clear short gaps. You can't roll up a wall, and you can't roll through an enemy. It's essentially a reload and dodging mechanic. Anna has no special move abilities. She can walk upstairs. Roadhog has a hook. He has no special move abilities. He can walk upstairs slowly. Semestra creates a teleporter with limited uses. She has no special movement ability. Zara can do a tiny rocket hop since they nerfed her. Mercy doesn't fly, she floats. And she floats until she reaches the ground. She can't float fast unless she has a teammate to heal using the Guardian Angel to get her there faster. And arguably Fair is one of your major flyers because she can rocket boost and has a small hovering mechanic. But let me give you an impression of what that's like. And by teleporting, I'm pretty sure you mean Reaper, but you showed Semestras there, which is why it could get confusing because the engineer in TF2 can create a teleporter as well. But you meant Reaper, except Reaper announces when he's teleporting because he can't shut the hell up. Junkrat can use a concussion mine jump that's pretty good. You can scale up walls with Hanzo. Genji can scale walls and double jump and slash to get to certain areas. Tracer can get to certain areas if you jump and blink. You can cross some gaps with Reinhardt's charge if you time it right. Diva can boost and fly a lot of places as well. Winston has a pretty nice Harambe jump. You can use May's Ice Wall to get yourself to higher areas. Bastion has no special move abilities. He's stuck in one place as a turret. Zenyatta doesn't have any special move abilities. He floats about 2 feet above the ground and still gets caught in traps. Soldier can sprint. Widowmaker has her grappling hook. And Torbjorn is standing there getting the play of the game because he can't explore dick. Most of the characters can get to certain areas. Just like most of the classes in Team Fortress 2 can explore many areas, if not more areas of the maps in their game.
And the great thing is that this increased mobility means Overwatch's characters are much better equipped to use more of the levels, explore the verticality of those levels.
Really what you mean is these characters are designed to explore the elevated portions of the map that they have access to, because they really can't explore all the verticality of it, and not all of them can do it. There isn't a large learning curve to it, and your only penalty is the cooldown in between using your abilities. If you really want to get down to brass tacks, the best character to explore the verticality of all the maps is Lucio. If you really know how to use Lucio and wall ride, you can wall ride to almost anywhere in most of the maps. He's really good at getting around, and that's one of his strengths.
And try out different strategies that TF2's more limited characters just don't have open to them.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what isn't open in Overwatch? Community server.
Memory agent starting is what I have instead of a view.
Well, perhaps you'd care to lend us your view on this questionnaire.
Oh, no. You were doing fine. And now this ham-handed segue.
No. Triple no, Joy of Painting. What a segue, except yours was unintentionally bad. I said it earlier, I don't know if you can be held responsible for the pictures of the game that are held behind you, but certainly you need to be held some responsibility for the script because you read it. And if you had any idea what you were talking about, you would have said, hey, this sign makes me look like a dumbass. Do you mind if I type and add some information? You let the opposing side talk about accessibility and mobility of the characters and didn't even bother trying to counter it at all. Each one of the characters in Team Fortress 2 has various abilities and they can do a bunch of different things. Sure, maybe you didn't want to craft, trade, or buy any of the items with the microtransactions that you claim don't exist that allow you to do some of those abilities. Valve is nice enough to let you try out certain items for a week before you buy them, but you can only try out one at a time. That doesn't give you a lot of options to try out all the items and moves if you're on a time crunch. But there is a wiki available that has this information you can look up. Now, I would show you how all the Team Fortress 2 abilities work and how to do it, but I can't. It's a harder learning curve. I haven't crafted and gotten all the necessary items neither. I'm just like you, except I can read. Did MatPat make you ignore this on purpose so he would look a little better, or what? I mean, he doesn't at all, but he doesn't really know that.
Won't be creating their own unique modes, skins, hosting their own events on their own servers. They can't do any of that stuff, and we know just how much the community has done for TF2 over all these years. This game was a meme machine. You think you could beat that?
Would have been damn nice if you guys even decided to address the update for Meet Your Match that took place apparently after you recorded all of this or even wrote the script, but you didn't. You released it anyway. While it is true the community has done a lot over the 9 years from Team Fortress 2, and then he says the game is a meme machine, like that means anything. I love how he straightens his back up like he's making an excellent point, like, why don't you try to cut that down?
In your face, MatPat, in your face.
And I wouldn't doubt the strength of the Overwatch community either, my friend. Cosplayers are out in force already. Blizzard is actively policing porn of these characters that's been popping up online.
Oh, I just wanted to freeze it right on MatPat's O face. Oh, I get it. You're talking about the strength of the community, and you talk about memes, cosplaying, and porn. I can't wait to check out the next Metacritic or score on any website to find out the meme and cosplay rating for the next game I want to buy. I mean, the only reason they have this in here is so they could throw in that terrible MatPat jerking off joke to porn. There's an image you don't want to see in your brain. Sorry. No, I'm not.
Porn of these characters that's been popping up online. Not that I would know from any sort of personal experience.
Oh, yeah, Matt, don't worry about it. We're not gonna check your search history or anything like that.
I read about it. Swear.
By the way, most of that stuff, made in Source Filmmaker. But don't try to distract me with titillating tidbits.
Before we get away from the whole map issue,
I thought we were away from the map issue. What are you talking about? Did anyone proofread this?
let's say you don't like a certain map.
I'm not even entertaining the map rotation argument. Not only is it out of date, it's stupid. This exists in every shooter. Some maps you're going to like, some maps you're not going to like as much. And as a player, you've got to deal with that. What are you supposed to do as a video game player? Just drop out of every map you don't like because you can't play it? You deal with the maps. That's what gamers do, whether or not you like it. He's trying to reinforce the server argument, and it's dumb because it's out of date.
On top of that, TF2 just has more modes to pick from. That includes Team Deathmatch.
You're right, there are more modes for Team Fortress 2. I would say that I'm shocked and appalled that you managed to pick the one mode that it's never had, like Team Deathmatch proper, that exists in Call of Duty, but apparently you've only been playing those kind of shooters, or you're only aware that those exist. At this point, I'm willing to forgive you for every one of your foibles, except for one.
Is to play. I get it, that's your big argument.
I like how you just deflected his many modes argument with saying, yeah, but still. That's basically your counter. Yeah, but still.
But here's the thing. Though you can't customize loadouts just yet, Overwatch's emphasis on characters countering other characters means that it's gonna stay fun for a whole lot longer.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
The smartest show on gaming, indeed. Characters and loadouts have never countered other characters and loadouts in any shooter ever. And yes, basically Overwatch is a combination of a fighting game and a first-person shooter, but that doesn't change the counter argument. What do you...
Because the core mechanic of the game is getting good with multiple characters and switching when the situation demands it. Need to stop some turret fire? Well, just call in Winston. Want to get vertical for a while? Call in Farah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
The dumb is wearing me down, MatPat. Your dumb is wearing on me. I start off jovial and lighthearted. Now I'm depressed and despondent. You just talked about how the emphasis on 6v6 and structures of a team, and now you're suggesting that everybody just switch randomly without even mentioning communication between your team. I guess you're assuming that they're going to communicate these things. Not everybody's on voice chat, especially if you're talking about PC. And even if they are, what if you're not good as Winston? You can't just call in any character depending upon the makeup of your team and have it work out. It depends on your skill level with that character and the skill level of the other characters. Get vertical with Farah for a while. See how long that lasts when there's a McCree, now a Hanzo on the other team. Good luck with that.
Overwatch's heroes a bit more rigid in their playstyles? Admittedly, yes they are.
Pleather Tuscadero dumbass, what is it with you and almost getting the right word? I'm just being a picky pedant, but saying they're rigid implies that they're stiff. Yes, they're unchangeable, but saying these characters are unchangeable is like saying Ryu or any Street Fighter character is unchangeable, or any fighting game character for that matter. What's important is how you use the characters. There can be a variability of playstyles for set characters. That's the one thing I do like about Overwatch. I run into another character, I already know what their loadout is. What I don't know is how well they use that character. And we have the same amount of options and abilities available to one another, it's just I'm doing it better. So if I can stop someone trying to counter me with the counter character, or just basically kick ass in a way with a character that people aren't used to seeing, oh, it's highly satisfying. I love it.
You want to play as a female Russian bodybuilder? Well, guess what? You can. You want to play as a Japanese cyborg ninja? Well, guess what? You can.
Where is your accent from? I love it. It's so exotic. You pronounce can't in the weirdest way. You do realize you just said two things a moment ago. One, the core concept is characters countering other characters and switching when the need arises. And two, teams need to be made up of a diverse set of heroes to accomplish objectives and goals.
Whether it be pushing a payload across a map or capturing an objective.
And it is so interesting how you talk about the look of the characters without talking about their abilities and how they play, and their role and function within the
diverse set of heroes made up of 6v6, where they're working together to accomplish a goal.
A lot of people want to main Genji because he's a cool cyborg ninja, and used well, he can wreck a team. And they think they're Seabreeze or Seashell or whatever the hell that douchebag's name is. Well, guess what? You can't. You want to try and main Genji like Seagull? You can't. You also don't mention these choices can weaken teams. You want to be an extra tank when the team needs a healer? You can. You can drive a car with your feet if you want to, as Chris Rock says, but that don't make it a good fucking idea. You know competitive mode doesn't allow hero stacking, so you can't switch if somebody else is already that character. So there goes your switching argument and playing whoever you want when the need arises.
Overwatch embraces diversity. While the characters in TF2 may be from all across the world, outside of the Demo Man and maybe the Pyro, they're all white males. Overwatch, though, literally has a grandmother who snipes medicine into your body. That is equal opportunity, ladies and gentlemen.
White males.
Well, Lottie frickin' duh!
This game has a lot of diversity. Battleborn, there's no opportunity. No diversity in Battleborn. Gonna go back to 2007 and compare it to that game.
I would say that I'm a bit shocked and appalled that you've whipped out the diversity card as the cis white male that you are, as far as I know, but nothing you could probably say would shock and appall me anymore in this video. I imagine you whipped out the diversity card for the same reason you didn't whip out any of the abilities or explain how to play the characters. You don't know how to play the characters, so this is the last card that you have to play. This is something that has become popular in gaming for the last 9 years. I think some people probably wanted to have diversity in a shooter, and I think people of all various genders, nationalities, and colors are perfectly fine with the mostly white male cast of Team Fortress 2. And this is where your counterpart to the left, Anonymous Clown Hair, could have whipped out the fact that the community has already addressed this white male problem by creating female skins. But, as I sort of inferred earlier, I don't believe he knows the extent to what the community has actually done, neither. I imagine there are some people who are upset about what you said. This doesn't fit into the story of Team Fortress 2. There weren't female soldiers then. These may be the same people who look at the copycat trailers for Overwatch and go, I don't understand how it fits into the story. Like, the stories don't connect to the actual gameplay. It just takes me out of it. I don't understand. Things need to make sense to me in my fictional world of women with ice guns and sentient robots and talking gorillas. And that's pretty much how I feel about the history of Team Fortress 2. There weren't medics that shot light out of hoses that healed you back then neither, so at some point we all need to have some fun, suspend our disbelief, and just calm down. Except for when it comes to crackpot theories. Nobody should stand for that.
And lastly, let's face it, but alt moves are a ton of fun.
Sure, but as fun as it may be to wreck shop with Reaper's Death Blossom, there's always gonna be a Widowmaker with Infrasight or someone else ready to counter it.
The alt that you chose to reference is one of the ones where you can stop in the middle by killing the person and you don't need another alt to do it. And of course you reference Widowmaker, not certain what her Infrasight has to do with it, which it just shows the enemy locations on the map, not when he's going to use the Death Blossom. It would go, hey, I can see enemy locations in front of me thanks to the Infrasight. And then he jumps down from above you and you're dead. Theoretically, she could snipe him, but there are not many good lines of sight on any of these maps for Widowmaker, and since she's been nerfed, Widowmaker's become fairly useless. She's not really good anymore. They really need to do something with her. It's a damn shame neither of you have played the game to kind of understand how this works, but every time I see somebody picking a Widowmaker, I'm like, damn it, they're wasting a slot.
Because teams need to be made up of a diverse set of characters working in tandem, moves countering moves, and switching when the need arises. Somehow my MatPat impression has turned into George Bush. 1,000 points of light, working together. Not got that.
More characters, more abilities means more opportunities to mess up the balance.
You just negated your own argument here because that means that there's more opportunities in Team Fortress 2 to mess up the balance because there's more loadouts and more... you wouldn't know that. You didn't download the game. You didn't download the game. You didn't download the game. You didn't download the game.
And you see it already with tiering lists in competitive play. Tanks are just too OP right now.
There are some inconsistencies in your story. Like every fucking thing that you said.
Oh, so sad. I've never seen an assertion before work against both sides. But you're doing it. You've managed to do it. Whoever wrote this doesn't know one thing about Overwatch. It's so clear. The tiering lists are made up of the characters most frequently picked at competitive play, and people most frequently pick a tank because you generally need a tank to push through a choke point and to capture a payload. This is similar to TF2. You need a heavy to be able to do the same things. Their function is in the name. Tank. They're designed to take a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage. That's what tanks do. The really stupid thing is you don't list a particular tank, you list the entire class. I can no longer be shocked. I can be bemused and upset. But that's about it. You got me. Please. I implore you, play the games. Please play the games. MatPat, you do not play the games. I know you're a busy businessman with your 10 billion theorists, but instead of coming up with crackpot theories, play your games. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know what? Just play the games. It's your job.
Hey, I mean, how often have you started a game, gone up against the opposing team, and seen that they have 3 Roadhogs? What else do you do other than sigh, groan, and face roll the keyboard?
Only happens in quick play, and if it does, it's fairly rare. You're making it sound like a common occurrence. According to your map strategy, you should convince your friends to drop out. But 3 tanks like that does not happen very often. It happens if people are playing around and team stacking, of course, but I've never seen 3 on one team, and if you do, you just go Reaper and walk through them like tissue paper, or set up a Bastion with a Reinhardt shield in front. It's not hard.
Be hundreds deep like other popular franchises such as League of Legends.
What does League of Legends have to do with this? It's not even the same game or same genre. Am I missing something?
But it's a finely honed stable of characters which offer a fair, consistent gameplay experience.
You said nothing specific. That verbiage could apply to any game with a multitude of characters.
You say TF2 is more balanced, and yet Overwatch's smaller team size per match allows for more strategically constructed teams compared to the massive battles of TF2. With too many players on the field, it just becomes bedlam.
As long as you have been online, you would know that people there tend to not work together. Yes, sometimes it works out great, and oftentimes it does not. Sometimes it just works out. How do you expect people to construct these teams together and have a powwow conference? Is that it? They just sit down and sip some teas and lattes and talk about it? I think bedlam? It would seem that way to someone who doesn't play the game at all.
I remember studying for that word for the SATs.
But with Overwatch's team sitting at 6v6, it makes each player's character choice matter.
Here on Game Theory, we just like to say words that apply to everything, nothing specific. There's no 6v6 in Team Fortress 2. Fact-checking department, what is that?
And speaking of skill, the need to master not just one character, but multiple characters in order to be successful in this game means that it has a higher potential skill ceiling for the hardest of hardcore players.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong.
Look, honey bunny, I would never say I'm some body language lie-to-me micro-facial expressions expert, but take a look at his face when he delivers that line. Does that look like a person who believes what they're saying to you?
And let's not forget as well, Overwatch simply looks and runs better. Team Fortress is a decade old, which makes it really hard to compete.
Hey, you know my brand new 2016 Tesla that I bought for my YouTube Red money? It runs better than your 2007 busted up Chevy. No kidding, it's gonna run better. Why did you pick the game for Deadlock then if you're going to make that argument? Everything improves over time, especially technology, exponentially. You just invalidated your entire friggin' thing.
You say old, I say tried and true.
So tried and true, you didn't even bother downloading and playing it. Why don't you go download Team Fortress Classic and shut up?
And its cartoonish graphical style has ensured that its look has aged very well, at least when compared to things like BioShock 1's Andrew Ryan and Uncharted 1's Nathan Drake, both games that were released the same year as Team Fortress 2.
Well, I guess that's convenient. Deadlock uses the graphical style of a Mega Man game and not Banjo-Kazooie or Blasto in the PS1. Don't worry, that art style will be retro in about 10 years and you can use that.
Closing arguments.
Kinda hard to have closing arguments when you didn't have any to begin with. I'm skipping this guy's summation because he basically reiterates his points, and the only thing new that he says is,
you might lose a match through no fault of your own if you get put with teammates who don't communicate or know what they're doing. As if that doesn't exist everywhere in life, both on and offline. If you'd like to go listen to his summation, go listen to the original video, and I pray for your safety.
Overwatch is a love letter to all of gaming. Soldier 76 is straight out of Call of Duty. D.Va is Titanfall. Pharah is Metroid. To me, these sorts of references just make the game more fun.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
Now see, this is the kind of stuff about game theory that just pisses me off. You're making things up. Your connections are less than tenuous, to the point to where they do not exist in reality. They only exist in your deluded, rationalizing mind. It's a fantasy. What are you talking about? Soldier 76 is Call of Duty. What is the connection? Why not Russian Attack, or Commando, or Contra, or Medal of Honor, or Halo, or any game with a soldier in it? There are no connections to his backstory, the number 76, and Call of Duty. The series started out as a World War II shooter. None of the games take place in the 70s. Black Ops 1 took place in the 60s. Black Ops 2 started in the 80s and went to 2025. Maybe you could make an argument one of the characters was born in 76. I'm sorry, I don't know their birth dates. But unless they named him Soldier Soap, you don't really have a case. Your biggest connection is that he can sprint. That's it. That's what you're going with? The Titanfall mechs are way bigger than D.Va's mech, and there's never been another mech in anime or any other game, so it couldn't possibly be a connection to something else or just a woman in a mech. In the 1990s, there was a rather diverse mech cartoon show called Exo Squad. They went on to make a game for the Mega Drive for this, so she seems closer to Rita Torres from Exo Squad than she does Titanfall. Why not that? Again, there's no real connection. D.Va is a pro gamer who fought in one Omnic attack using her skills. She's about as close to Ripley as she is Titanfall. Is there some pro gamer in Titanfall that I'm not aware of? And not for nothing, the Metroids are the things that you fight. Samus is the person in the suit. I'm going to argue with you because she's a woman in a metal suit without a rocket arm and shoots missiles. That does not make her like Samus. I know if you look at the footage and from the first person perspective, it kind of looks like she has a rocket arm, a la Mega Man and Samus. But if you actually go into the character and look at the skins, you will see not only do the skins not look like Samus's armor, but she also has a rocket gun. Pharah's ult doesn't roll into a ball and spread bombs, which would make more sense. In fact, it's in Metroid Prime when she first gets her rocket boosters, I believe. I know in the manga in 2002, they talk about Samus's connection to the Galactic Federation. However, in the original Metroid and up through Super Metroid in 94, she has always been a bounty hunter. And even after the Prime games and everything else, she eventually turns bounty hunter. Even if she returns to the Federation and leaves again and goes back, being a bounty hunter is not in line with justice for all and a sense of obligation to the Federation. This would be in stark contrast to Pharah, whose commitment to duty runs in her blood and is from a long line of decorated soldiers. So your very loose connection is that she's a woman in a metal suit who joined some type of army or police organization. So she's more like Kissy from Baraduke, who is a woman who jetpacks around with a rocket gun on a mission for a galactic organization. Granted, Baraduke never went first person, but the bulk of the Metroid games are side-scrollers, and the best one out of the first person is Prime, so your Samus connection is rather flimsy. You're making shit up. I could do that too. Winston is Donkey Kong. Reaper is Scream. Torbjorn is Danny DeVito. Zara is Julia Vins, the Russian bodybuilding teenager. Junkrat is Willem Dafoe. Bastion is Bumblebee. Genji is Gray Fox. That one's at least visually closer than yours when you think about it. See, I do your damn job better than you do.
And fixed teams, where you're not going to be thrown onto the enemy side if someone suddenly decides to leave.
You are absolutely right, sir. What they do is they just end the match. So you'll start up, if someone leaves, the match dies. It's happened to me 3 times in a row, both on the PTR and when it moved to live. And if someone leaves in the middle of competitive mid-match, they don't fill that slot. So please tell me how that's better.
Plus, there's no ammo boxes, which to me is always a big perk.
Called it. So you don't play FPSs or multiplayer, do you big puss? Please explain to me how it's okay to have health packs, but not ammo boxes. Please explain to me how the lack of ammo boxes makes it better to play. The penalty for not having ammunition in this game is the reload animation and time. It makes more sense in a game like Call of Duty or Battlefield when you'll have hundreds of rounds in a clip, but most of the characters in Overwatch max out between 25 and 40 bullets, if not infinite if you're Diva. I understand how it's better not to have to look for ammunition from a player standpoint, considering you don't have to remember where the ammunition boxes might be or plan your shots, but doesn't that work against your whole hardest of hardcore strategy? Like, that makes the game easier, right? Additionally, without ammunition boxes, characters like Hanzo and Mei, ever since they buffed the projectile damage, really have an advantage for headshots because you could just spam an area and easily land one without too much trouble. Hell, Hanzo's hitbox is like all the other characters being in big head mode. I can't tell you how many times you'll pop around a corner or you'll be hiding behind a Reinhardt shield and the player will drop the shield for some ungodly reason and you'll randomly get headshotted and you watch the kill cam and the character was not even aiming at you. You wanker, why are you talking about video games you don't even enjoy or know anything about? You should pick games for Deadlock that you have experience with and you like playing.
Undertale versus Undertale.
See? I've made your life a heck of a lot easier, right? Then you could talk about hats and hair that don't exist and be on your jolly jerky way. I fell in love with Overwatch and I really do like the game despite its flaws and the many people who hate it for whatever reason they do. I haven't played it since I started editing this video and you're making me question my life choices all around. So thank you very much. Stop talking about games you clearly know nothing about and didn't even attempt to learn anything about. Show the game you're talking about some respect by at least trying to learn something about it before you critique it. None of your points were specific about the actual gameplay or characters of the game.
We have reached deadlock.
I don't know how you can reach deadlock when you don't have any decent assertions. Like, oh my god, our arguments were so rock solid, we've come to a standstill. We don't know what to do. It's almost a stalemate, kids. Your votes are gonna have to decide. And I click on the icons and both of them take me to your channel. So please tell me how you're collecting and calculating the votes when you have 7 million subscribers. You couldn't make a poll for this? And the reason I mention it is because there's no way in Sam hell that people voted for motion controls. You know how I know? Logic. There's no more PlayStation Move. Everybody hates the Kinect. Nintendo dropped the Wii for the limited controls of the Wii U. Nobody likes motion controls. And the Zelda DS games with the stylus, people tolerate more than they like. So there's no way motion controls won. So please enlighten me for the poll results. I'd like to see the actual raw numbers. Because I am more inclined to believe that the reason motion controls won is because Reggie starred in your video and Nintendo asked you to make it win. That's just a hunch though. I could be wrong. The reality of Todd is that I actually feel bad for the man. I don't know the circumstances of how he came to be in the video. They may have contacted him and said, hey, do you want to be in a game theory video? And if you're in the genre, or if you want to be a part of the channel, you might jump at the chance. And he said, sure. And they said, great, you got 12 hours to write something. You have 24 hours, whatever. If he doesn't know anything about the game, then he's going to be scrambling to put something together. I know in the video description it says the sides are randomly chosen. This is all for fun, no hate. So he didn't get to choose a video game that he knows something about. Secondly, he may have not even wrote the script. Maybe he was just a performer he had just walked in, they handed him the script, and he was the person performing the lines that someone else wrote. That's possible as well. They're not giving us that information. They're obviously hiding it because of all the negativity this video is getting. The reason I believe that is because he's holding that tablet throughout most of the video. That's the one thing I won't cut him any slack on. He's not reading from it when he's speaking his lines, so there is no reason to hold it. You can memorize your lines, set it on the floor or a table, and then get back to speaking. I don't know why he held it the whole time. It looks awkward. The purple shirt and the holding of the tablet lends me to believe that there's not somebody giving the information on what the set and conditions should be, which is a problem. I think the Team Fortress 2 fan base, since it's probably significantly larger than Overwatch's, is giving this video a lot more hate simply because of the inaccuracies on his side, I'm guessing. I have not watched a lot of the videos. I didn't want any of them clouding my judgment. I want stuff to come from my own brain and things that I knew about the game. I'm no expert on either game. So I do think we need to cut him some slack. I know throughout the video there's some ad hominem attacks and some other things. Those are humor or poor attempts at it. The reality is I think the Team Fortress side at least tried to get a little bit more specific rather than what the Overwatch side did. And I think we need to pay more attention to how bad the actual information in the Overwatch side is as well. MatPat's side is a little different. This is his channel and brainchild. He has obviously done a lot of hard work since 2009, getting his channel to the level that it is today. There has to be a lot of dedication and talent put into it. One does not see many unique channels of his level that are not about spreading hate or recapitulating the news. In this regard, his channel is amazing and successful because he creates the content that people love to see. He does this so well and so often, maybe he's no longer the only person working on the channel. There is the possibility he is no longer in charge of everything solely, and there are groups of writers and executives helping him create his content. He may be just another performer. Having said that, I don't know the reality of his channel. He still may be in charge of everything. Given some of the theories I see that he churns out, it tends to make me believe that he still is in charge of everything, or the writers have similar ways of constructing theories. I have always felt that the videos are well produced and well put together, but the theories themselves lack many connections and intertextual connections that support the points they're trying to make. I suppose that is why the channel is called Theory, because it presents a possibility. However, the support points start off very strong, and then there is a missing support step or two that connects all of the assertions to the thesis and then the conclusion. So in those instances, one needs to find better support or revise the thesis or theory. I don't have any problems with the sources he uses. After all, this is gaming and not a hard science. However, I think lacking a coherent argument and connections between the assertions is a problem for a channel that has developed around creating sound theories. Now, having said that, I realize I have used Wikipedia a few times throughout this video as resources. And some people still have a problem with Wikipedia because it cannot be academically verified because anyone can edit it. I tend to find that Wikipedia can be fairly accurate in many areas, and it is a good springboard for ideas. According to MatPat's Wikipedia, our dear gentleman in question, sir, you got a perfect SAT score a la Zach Morris and attended Duke University. Duke is a really competitive school to get into, so I give you many kudos for going there, and I do not mean that sarcastically in any way. It is a really competitive school. One has to be a fairly good academic to attend a school of that caliber. I know that they are really competitive in English and rhetoric. I am not so certain about theater and neuroscience, but I imagine they're roughly the same. Were I you, I would pull that diploma off the wall or wherever you keep it and take a good hard look at the names and signatures on it and try to remember who you were and who you wanted to become. Often in life, we run into many turns and twists and we never end up where we think we're going to be. You probably never saw this coming. You've built an empire. But I think at the very least, you owe it to your subscribers and the people who have supported you all of these years to present something that is coherent, precise, and accurate.
That is equal opportunity, ladies and gentlemen.